There are mistakes that you might be currently making in Hogwarts Legacy that you do probably want to avoid to have an even better time with this fun game. These are 12 mistakes that I will be going over in this video, starting out with the first mistake being looking like a clown. Nobody likes to move around like a clown, let's be honest, but the game has a feature that is commonly known as transmogging. What transmogging basically means is that you can wear any gear you want, so usually that would probably be the gear with the best stats to give you an edge in combat, but while enjoying these stats you can actually magically replace the look of these pieces with anything you have ever obtained in the game. Yes, anything. That means any gear that you have obtained in game or with the pre-order bonus and maybe at some point have sold or even destroyed will be available for you to change your appearance to once you just simply click on the change appearance option for the armor piece that you want to change the look for. So the look changes but the armor piece with the desired stats remains. A lot of people seem to not know about this mechanic, but now you know, and definitely make use of this feature to make your character look exactly like you want. The next mistake revolves around the talent tree, with the mistake being wasting your skill points. Now in Hogwarts Legacy you do not get to respect your talents as of now. It might get added in the future, but as of now it is not there. So you do want to put your skill points in talents that you actually want to use. The maximum level that you can reach is level 40, while the talent system unlocks at level 5, meaning you get 36 points to spend, and the mathematicians among us will thus realize that you will not be able to get quite a number of talents ultimately actually. So make your choices wisely depending on your personal playstyle. Now obviously not every playstyle is going to be the same, but there are some talents that are absolute must-haves in my opinion, which brings me to the third mistake of this video. Now I will not go over every single talent in this video, but the first on the list of must-haves are the spell set upgrades. These talents are called spell knowledge and you have in fact 3 of them. Each one unlocks another set of spells for getting ultimately 16 different spells to use at the same times if you get them all. Now especially early on I would definitely get the first 2, as part of the fun is also the variety that you get with your spells, and with more options you'll have pretty much everything you need with having 12 options early on. Then later on when you have planned out your roster of spells I would definitely get the third one as well. These talents are really just too useful. The talent known as Swift is also a really good one. It basically gives you this sick new dodge. Not only does it help you out significantly in combat by allowing you to reposition yourself very quickly, helping you out strategically in very significant ways, it is also great in the open world. It gives you a way of moving around fast when you can't use your broom for example, which is definitely nice, but it also helps you out with reaching things that are otherwise hard to reach or going through these small holes like these, which is a really nice feature. Then the Revelio Mastery one is amazing as well. It just makes everything more visible to you in a bigger range. Finally, I would definitely get the basic cast mastery one as soon as possible as well. Reducing the cooldowns of your harder hitting destructive spells with your basic cast is just too useful. For the fourth mistake, we have skipping the Merlin trials. The Merlin trials are amazing and the rewards you get from them are even better. These trials are scattered around all of the world, and every time you see this type of circle indicated with the leaf logo on your map or just in front of you, definitely do them. The Merlin trials are these little puzzles, and not only do they give you coins and XP when you finish, they also reward you with more inventory space. Do the puzzles, claim the rewards, and your inventory will expand every time you complete a few of them. And that is really useful because you might have already experienced it, but without doing them you will see this message pop up all the time, and that gets quite annoying because you only get like 20 gear slots when you start out. So definitely don't skip the Merlin trials. They are pretty easy and fun to do as well. A really good tip that I can give you is to cast Revelio every time you start one of them, because it highlights all the interactable objects around you, and they pretty much always revolve around these interactable objects around you. So Revelio is a really good tool to help you out with these puzzles. Which brings me to the next mistake, not using Revelio every time you get to a new area. The value of Revelio cannot be underestimated, it's just too good. It highlights everything in the area that you can interact with, or good loot that is hidden away in chests, or even threats that you might want to avoid. There are also just a lot of areas where not using Revelio will just make you miss out on useful loot because they are so well hidden. And in the case of flying, Revelio will also reveal things that are really far away from you, which is very useful, but additionally it also pops up all the map icons in the actual world, giving you a nice overview of everything, showcasing also points of interest that are quite far away from your current location, and it really becomes this very useful navigation tool that will outrange all the icons on your map. Combine it with the talent I mentioned before, so you don't have to recast it every few seconds, and you will never miss out on any important thing again. Which brings me to the next one on the list. Now this one is definitely more catered to if you just started out, but definitely prioritize doing all your assignments and classes as soon as possible. Don't neglect them because they will give you very useful rewards. Usually they do in fact give you new spells, and with that, if you prioritize them, doing them early on, you can get a really impressive selection of spells very early on in your playthrough as well, which means you can enjoy these spells and benefit from them as much as possible. And nobody likes homework, I know, but this type of homework is quite fun as well, so it is a win-win situation for sure. This brings me to the next one. The next one is really a hit or miss, and I've heard absolute horror stories, so I will include it, and it is about claiming your challenge rewards. So you have all these challenges in the game that you can complete, and when you do so, you get rewards. Now the thing is, you don't automatically get these rewards. You have to go to your challenge tab in your menu and then select one of the different sections and then claim your rewards one by one. This mechanic is definitely mentioned in one of the tutorials, but the mistake of not claiming your rewards is very easy to make, as the game doesn't really mention it again after that. And I've seen a bunch of people just not knowing about the existence of these claim reward options at all, leading to entire pages of juicy rewards laying around there that were just never claimed. The rewards are nice as well actually, from gear that has sick aesthetics to useful traits to help you out in combat, and like you saw earlier in this video, your rewards linked to the Merlin trials are also claimed in this way. If you are one of those that didn't know about the claim reward options, now you know. Hoarding gear is definitely useless. Make sure to sell all of the weaker stuff every time you get the chance to do so. The game highlights it actually for you when you get weaker stuff and makes it as obvious as possible that it's just trash. Upgrading your gear is something that is very streamlined in this game. You basically get gear all the time and there's nothing to worry about. The nice transmog option in the game that I mentioned before means you also never really lose your older gear that you actually really like the look of, and with constantly selling all of the old gear you also get good money that you can definitely use for a lot of other useful things. Health potions are nice and really easy to make in Hogwarts Legacy. Their ingredients can be gotten in abundance. Once you unlock your room of requirement, get your potion crafting station and your planting station, and you can pretty much consistently pump these potions out to always have a good number of potions with you to help you out in combat. Horclump juice is one of the ingredients that you need for the potions, and this one is all over the underground areas, especially the spider caves, and you can in fact also just buy Horclump juice from J. Poppins at the potion store, and then you can harvest the Dittany leaves, the other ingredient for the potion, yourself with your planting station after you complete the herbology class quest, which like I mentioned you should be doing them early on. With all of that you have a reliable and consistent method to mass produce HP potions, and nothing will ever kill you again in combat, which is very nice. Protego is really good. It's your defense spell that you can cast with either Y or triangle on your controller, and outside of its standard use to block incoming things, which you do when casting it right when you see the orange effect surrounding your head, you can use it to stupefy things. This is when you hold down your cast button after blocking the incoming attack. And stupefy is basically this attack that stuns your enemy so they can't do anything for a few seconds. But accordingly, when they are stupefied, they will take increased damage as shown with the yellow numbers. This mechanic is something you can really abuse, and for example, chain stun much higher level enemies when you're traveling in the open world. It gets even better if you are in an area with multiple enemies, and especially if there is another lower level or smaller enemy in the area that is attacking you. So you can use your Protego on attacks from other targets to get the block, but then make sure to use the subsequent stupefy on the higher level enemy, which is then what you're locked onto and thus your main target. The idea is then basically to use various other enemies in the area to stupefy and chain stun your main target, which in this case will be a much more difficult enemy, and using Protego and stupefy like this, you can really beat anything in the game. Now you made it to this point in the video, so that means you liked the video. Give the video a like and don't forget to subscribe for more Hogwarts Legacy content, because I've got a lot more epic stuff coming. Stealth is overpowered in Hogwarts Legacy. You become invisible when you use your disillusionment charm, or you can also drink a invisible potion. Not only can it help you out with sneak sneaking past things you just don't want to bother with. You can also use it to just instantly kill threats with it when you just chain it with the Petrificus Totalis. The trigger for the very powerful Petrificus Totalis will pop up when you're close enough. And even if you don't want to use stealth in combat, it is really good in the open world as well. An example is to use it to unlock chests with the major eyeballs on them. These will not open when you just try to open them regularly. You have to be invisible. And they are definitely worth it to cast Disillusionment Charm on yourself for, especially early on, as they give you a whopping 500 coins every time you open one of them. So make sure every time you see one of these chests laying around to not ignore them and stealth yourself to get a quick buck. Finally, for mistake number 12, we're closing off with a banger. There are two main puzzles in Hogwarts Legacy that usually when you solve them, you get rewarded with access to an area that has some nice loot. These puzzles are really easy, however, to solve, and I'm going to show you a trick for both types of these puzzles to do them as fast as possible. Regarding the Alohomora puzzles, or in other words, the ones linked to locked things, the first time you see them, they can be a bit intimidating, but they really aren't. They are actually really easy. Just move the outer green thing to one of 8 main directions, so left, right, up, down, or the diagonal directions till you hit the first lock. You will notice because your controller starts vibrating, or you can just see it on screen. Then follow that up and do exactly the same thing for the red inner light, quickly cycling through the 8 main directions. All the other space in between the main directions is pretty much just filler and you can ignore it. When the red inner light hits the sweet spot in one of the 8 main directions, you will solve the puzzle. Approaching it like this will show you how easy it is to do these puzzles, and you can even do them during sneak missions where you don't have a lot of time, because you will be unlocking the lock so fast this way it is not even funny anymore. The other type of puzzle with the animals is also really easy. Some people say you have to loot a page that is somewhere in Hogwarts Legacy to get to know all the values, but don't even bother with that, just use your brain. The arc of animals basically represents 0 to 9 like this, and if you don't want to count, just look at the animal and see how many things stick out of it. For example, count the number of legs for the spider to get the associated value, which in this case will be 8. Then after you have figured that out, it just becomes a mini puzzle of adding up values till you reach the value in the middle of the triangles, and the missing values for both parts are then the animal and its associated value that you want to roll with the dice. You will complete these puzzles really fast as well when you start approaching them like this, and will just quickly get all that juicy loot. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video. These were just a bunch of tips and tricks essentially. If you have other cool tips and tricks that everyone needs to know of, put it all down in the comments, and just in general, let me know your thoughts in the comments.